Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Digimon Adventure 2020, Episode 5. So yeah, we're here with another episode of Digimon Adventure, and I'm super excited. Like, last time we got Sora, Biomon, Birdramon, we got all this stuff, we got some setup with some stuff, we got Izzy and Tentamon, who debuted last episode as well, the latter of them. Swallowed by the big whale Digimon, who I can just not remember the name of. I don't think it's as simple as like Whalemon or anything. But yeah, they got swallowed by that. And I assume we're just going to continue to get more Digidestined stuff, more Digimon introductions. So I assume it's going to be Tentamon this episode, which means we'll probably get Kabuterimon as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see more of that, because honestly, I've been enjoying the hell out of this. This series has definitely done things quite a bit differently than the original series for obvious reasons, but all in all, I think it's doing great. I think it's working out excellently. And the fact that they are doing things so notably different is helping it feel fresh and new and exciting again. It's like I'm experiencing Digimon Adventure for the first time, and that's insane to me to think about. Like, everyone talks about, like, oh, I wish I could experience this show for the first time again. I wish I could just go back, erase all my memories of the show, and experience it for the first time. And that's kind of what's happening here. Because, yeah, I know the characters. Yeah, I know they're Digimon partners. But there's a lot that's being changed, a lot that's being updated. Um, they did war games in the first couple episodes. They brought in Omnimon in the first couple episodes. They're changing so much. It feels fresh. It feels new. And that's what it is. We're experiencing Digimon Adventure for the first time again. We're reuniting with these characters, but also learning about them. We're reuniting with the digital world, but also learning about it. It's it's inconceivable how they could do this, how they could actually take that concept and make it a reality with this series. Because you have no idea what's going to happen next, because they're changing so much. Hell, Devimon and Myotismon might not even be in this for all we know, which would kind of suck because I really like them, but especially Myotismon. Myotismon was always fantastic, especially because he was voiced by Richard Epcar, who, by the way, I met at Youmacon. But Richard Epcar is also known as the English voice for Old Man Joseph Joestar from Stardust Crusaders and Diamond is Unbreakable. And it's like, that's just awesome. Thinking about this voice from my childhood, one of the biggest villains of my childhood, voiced fucking Joseph Joestar. It's just hilarious to me. Especially because I didn't even know it at first. Because I hadn't seen Digimon in so long that I forgot what Myotismon's voice was. Outside of the movie, of course. I see the Digimon movie every now and again, just because I love it so much. But still, point being, it's like it's just really damn cool. And that's what I think is really making me love this show just that much more, is the passion it's inspiring, the excitement it's inspiring. Because I'll be honest, I've always loved Digimon, but I haven't been excited about Digimon in a long ass time. It's been a long ass time since I've had the trading cards, a long ass time since I've played any of the games. But because of this, I even started playing a game on the Switch, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Um, though I haven't played that in a bit because I've been focusing a lot on the Pokemon DLC and Stardew Valley. I almost said Stardust Crusaders again. Stardew Valley. So I do need to get back into that again. But I've been taking a little break for other games. But the point is, I've been playing a Digimon game again for the first time in probably over a decade. God, it's probably has been. um, but yeah, it's insane to think about that I'm excited about Digimon again. Not just that I like it, because I never stopped liking it, but I'm excited about it. It's just, it's so cool. It's so cool, and I love it. Um, but yeah, so we're definitely getting introduced like one at a time to each of these Digidest and their partners and everything, and we have a goal. We have a goal because there's this temple out in the distance that Tai and Sora are headed to. So we currently have the goal, and I said in the last reaction that it feels like they're going to want to get everyone together before they get there, but I don't know if that's going to be possible at this point. I mean, maybe they'll get. They're fine on Bertramon, but maybe they'll get stopped at some point, or maybe they'll get attacked and they'll have to like. Maybe Bertramon will have to de-digivolve back to Biomon, and they'll have to walk for a bit and everything, and yada yada. There's a lot of options here on how they could do it. I'm just wondering what they're going to do because right now it is just those two. Izzy and Tentamon were in the net. They're not in the digital world. So they're not even with them. And they just got swallowed by this whale. So who knows what even is going to happen with that. And then Matt isn't even around at the moment. And then the others haven't even been debuted yet, fully at least. We've seen a little bit of them, notably Kari, but still. I don't even know what they're going to do with Kari. God. Because in the original series, she didn't join the Digidestined at first. It actually took a bit for her to join, for her to get Gatomon to join. Like, that did not happen right away. The other Digidestined were already partnered up and already adventuring before she ended up joining. She was already a character, but yeah, it's just like, what are they going to do with this in this one? Are they going to have her join right away? Hell, maybe she could possibly join before some of the others. That would be weird, but interesting. And if they pull it off well, then awesome. I've always liked Kari, and I've always liked Gatomon. So, um, plus it's really interesting as well because Gatomon is the only Digimon partner that remains most of the time in champion form. Because Gatomon is a champion level Digimon instead of a rookie like Agumon or Tentamon or Biomon. Um, Basically, Gatomon's the same level as Birdramon or Greymon, which is also really interesting considering how little and cute Gatomon is. um, but yeah, it's like, God, this is going to be interesting. Either way, I am super excited, as you could tell. I am just super hyped for this series. So we're just going to get on with this episode and hope for the best, as always. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I'm getting emotional. I've said this many times now. I said it in the pre-thoughts and all. I grew up with this series. Well, with the original. Like, this was my shit growing up. And just seeing the arrival of, well, not full arrival, but the debut, I guess you could say debut, of Devimon in this episode. It's like, ah, it's so good. It's just so good. It's so nostalgic, but also new and fresh. Ah, I love it. But were Soundbirdmon in the original? Because I remember that Devimon used the black gears in order to control other Digimon. Meramon, I mentioned in the episode, in the reaction. Meramon is a big example I remember of that because Meramon was actually pretty damn nice, but he was being controlled by a black gear, and had to fight against them. I want to say I think it was Togemon that ended up saving him and destroying the black gear, but I'm not actually 100% sure about that. I mean, with Palmon and Mimi being introduced at the end of this episode, that obviously is a possibility that could still happen. But I don't know if they're having these Soundbirdmon now doing the controlling. It's like, and apparently, it looked like Devimon was able to um, kind of connect to Ogremon through it, like kind of communicate, sort of like Salem's Metroid Jellyfish Grim in Ruby. Um, so yeah, it's interesting to think about. Will they have the black gears or not? um, but yeah, so this episode was definitely the Izzy episode. Um, it had Izzy having to deal with getting out of Waymon, and then they had to deal with the Tylemon, who were being controlled by one of the Soundbirdmon. And Izzy, using his intellect and just studying the situation and all, realized that Soundbirdmon was the issue here, and so they realized they had to take it out. We got our debut of Kabuterimon in this episode, which, yeah, that's always great. Like, seriously, I don't think I dislike any of the original Digidestin's partner Digimon. Like, yeah, there's some I like more than others. Like the Gabumon line for Mats is not my favorite necessarily, but I don't have an issue with them. Um, I don't dislike any of them. I actually like all of them to some degree. And I always thought Kabuterimon, while creepy as hell looking, because I have never liked bugs. While creepy as hell looking, I always thought Kabuterimon was actually pretty damn cool. The electrical attacks that the Tentamon line has and everything, it's just like that's the cool idea. Like, I mean, thinking about it, a bug that uses electrical attacks. It's like, yeah, Pokemon has done that since, but back then, it's like when this was first a thing, that wasn't like a common idea. Bugs and electricity just usually didn't mix. In fact, it was usually kind of the opposite when you think about it, like bugs being drawn to electricity to zap them and everything, like to kill them. But no, this bug uses electricity, so it was always fascinating to me. Um, so yeah, that's fun. um, but yeah, Waymon, I definitely remember Waymon. But I swear I thought it had a different name. I'm not gonna look it up. I'm not that invested. I don't remember Tylemon though. Like the name sounds familiar, but I don't remember Tylemon based on its design. Maybe, and it's very possible I just forgot because I can't remember everything. But yeah, I just don't remember that one. I definitely remember Jakugumon. I definitely remember Ogremon, obviously. um, Soundbirdmon, I don't, but I don't know. Again, that could just be a forgot thing. But yeah, so this episode also gave us a big lore drop. We had this mysterious Digimon, um, almost kind of appeared like a spirit or some kind of like message left rather than an actual like fully real Digimon in that moment. Um, but it told Tai, Sora, and their partners about this basically holy war that happened between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. Um, clearly, comparable to the biblical story of the forces of the angels taking on the forces of Satan and all. It's a very it's this just kind of this iconic biblical imagery, you know. Satan and the demons taking on God and the angels. It's just this, even though it's not quite like that in the Bible. Um, it's this iconic imagery that even people who aren't Christian, like, yeah, when they think of that kind of, when they think of like biblical war or something, like, yeah, that's going to come to mind. It's something that people, it's an image that people understand and like that they get. um, and hell, that kind of thing has even been discussed and everything in Supernatural. Um, so fans of that would definitely understand. But yeah, so it's very clearly meant to be the forces of light versus darkness. So we're definitely bringing in Devimon, who, well, I mean, we saw Devimon, not like in he was kind of covered by shadow, but it was clearly Devimon based on the long ass arms, the shape, the horns, the wings. Yeah. Um, and I don't remember exactly how the original went, but I don't think we had like this big, like, grand war that was talked about in the past with Devimon. Because let's be completely honest here, Devimon is not the most powerful Digimon they fought by any means. Myotismon was a lot more powerful, but this is definitely hyping Devimon up to be this big fucking deal. And it feels more epic and grand in scale than I remember the original feeling. But then again, I was a kid back then as well. But also, you think like as a kid, it would also just generally feel more just impressive to you. But it's like, yeah, I don't remember like it ever being this like intense with it. But I might be wrong. I very well could be. So we're definitely having Ogremon as a kind of recurring enemy at this moment. He's leading these armies of Digimon against the Digidestined, or the Chosen Ones, as they're being called right now, in order to stop them, because Ogremon is clearly controlled by Soundbirdmon. So that's definitely going to continue into next one, which is definitely going to be Mimi. We got at the end the little hint with Palmon and that little scene Mimi. So I assume we're going to see how Mimi and Palmon met, and it's going to kind of like bridge into like where they are now and all. Um, I always liked Palmon. I always liked the Palmon line. I just think it's a really, really cool line. I like plants. Like, I'm not like the most knowledgeable or anything, but I've always liked plants. I always thought that like motif in terms of designing like creatures or any kind of like warrior armor or something like that, using plants as a motif for that kind of thing, I've always thought was really cool and really pretty. So it's like, yeah, I've always really kind of liked Palmon. Um, so I'm just really interested to see what we're going to do with that. Um, but yeah, I'm also wondering if we're going to see Izzy actually come into the digital world soon, because he's still not in the digital world. He's still only in the net. It looked like he was seeing the message though. Like, even in the nets, it looked like the holy Digimon, whatever that was still able to project the message to him. Meanwhile, Tai and Sora are heading to across the sea to the continent, as it was put, in order to find the holy Digimon. Which just instantly, my thought with that goes to Angemon. Because when you think of a holy Digimon, yeah, there's multiple Digimon that would go under that kind of moniker, but especially with Devimon having now been revealed, it's like, yeah, Angemon is what you're going to think of. So I'm thinking that's building up to when we're going to introduce TK into the series, or I think his name in the Japanese is Takeru. We're going to introduce him into the series along with his Digimon partner Patamon, who digivolves into Angemon for champion level. Um, but we're getting Mimi first. Joe is probably going to be last outside of Kari and all. That's what I'm thinking. But again, you never know. You never know with how this is going. Um, we'll just kind of have to see. I'm really, really enjoying this. Like the pacing is great. The story itself is great. It just has this intense factor to it that really helps it just feel like this epic grand scale. Not even just the the uh, holy war that we saw in this one. Even beyond that, like just the fights themselves just feel epic. They feel great, and the digivolution sequences. Did you see that fucking digivolution sequence with Agumon in this one? It's like holy shit, that was awesome. I remember the Digivolution sequences from the original, how it's like just, oh, you see the Digimon spinning around, it like kind of like zooms in and then zooms out, and it's like, oh, they're the other Digimon, and there's the spinning is slowing and all. It's like it wasn't that special or exciting. So seeing them actually like change and seeing like in Tentomon's case change like basically piece by piece, it's just it's so much more epic and grand and cool. So I'm glad that they updated the Digivolution, well, scene. Just the, it just feels. Honestly, I hate to say this because it sounds silly as hell, but it feels like a magical girl transformation. Like in all of these magical girl anime, no matter what it is, there's always this really cool transformation sequence, and it's like they put an effort into it every episode, pretty much, to show it. Sailor Moon does it. Hell, even Miraculous does it because Miraculous you could technically count as a magical girl show. Um, and you see that a lot in all of these different shows where it's like, oh, you always see the transformation sequence, or at least the slightly shortened version of it. Um, and it just feels like that. Just the way they transform and everything feels very magical girl. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Because again, no matter what you think of magical girl anime, the transformation sequences are always just fire. Like they are just always fire. Um, so it's really cool to see them. I don't know if that was like an intentional, like kind of like, oh, they pulled that idea from there. But it's really cool, and they make it feel rightly more of its own thing in this version. Like it doesn't just feel like a magical girl transformation sequence. It still feels like, oh yeah, this is Digivolution. So I really can appreciate that there's definitely some connection to magical girl transformations, but it also feels like its own thing still. I just like that. Um, but yeah, I'm so impressed by this series. I don't remember if I mentioned it in my early episode reactions because there was a break in the season because of the pandemic. But um, yeah, I was worried about this at first. I was worried that the series was going to not live up to my nostalgia for Digimon. That it was not going to live up to, honestly, in a lot of ways, my expectations and hopes for just an anime series in general. But it so has. Like this is just that damn hype. And the hype hasn't even slowed down. It's like we're 5 episodes in, there was a notable break between episodes 3 and 4, and my hype has not slowed down. I'm still just as excited for it. In fact, probably even more so now that we're actually getting into Devimon. Like, I'm really excited about that. Like, seriously. I said it before, and I'll say it again. They did the impossible with this series, and they made it so that we can experience Digimon Adventure again for the first time. That we can go back to this series that we've seen, but have it feel so fresh and new and exciting that it feels like just we're watching something we've never seen before. It's so impressive, so just magical. And I couldn't ask for anything more. I am just so beyond excited and so beyond hyped for this series that I really am scared that it's going to eventually let me down, that it's going to go into a bad direction or something. And even if there's nothing to tell me that it will, it's just I'm scared that it will because I'm just so into it right now. That it's just kind of my paranoia acting up. And I really hope that this continues to be this damn good for however long it ends up going. I don't know if they're going to be doing this as a seasonally based thing. Like, okay, this is like season one, and then they're going to have like, they're going to do 26 episodes of this, and then they'll do a season two, and so on and so forth. I don't know if it's just going to continue going on until they just tell the story they want to. I don't know. But no matter what they do, as long as they do it right, that's all I can ask for. This this series has reinvigorated my love for Digimon and made it just that much more than it ever had been in the past. And I'm just so thankful for that. I'm so happy I'm happy and excited to be this happy and excited about it. And I am for any series really, but especially for a show that again has so much meaning and nostalgia to me. A show that I grew up with. To have this reinvigorated passion for it just means so much. But tell me in the comments below what you think of episode 5 of Digimon Adventure 2020. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.